So last lecture we learned about the three parts of the neurons, but this time we're going to learn about the three types of neurons. So basically there's three types. The first is the sensory neuron. Some people call them the afferent neuron. So you should kind of know them as sensory or afferent neurons usually. Sensory neuron, it's pretty easy to remember this. Sensory takes in information from the senses. So sometimes I like to highlight. So we could just remember sensory, senses. So it takes in the information. Okay, but then the next type of neuron is interneuron. So it communicates in between neurons. So interneuron communicates in between neurons. And then we have motor neurons, which carry information to the muscles. So if we were going to highlight as a way to remember this, it's pretty easy here. Inter is in between, and then motor, M, is to the muscles. So basically the sensory neurons and the motor neurons are usually in the peripheral nervous system, and then the interneurons are in the central nervous system. That's not always true, but it's kind of a basic way of thinking about it. So there's only three types of neurons: sensory, interneuron, motor neuron. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how the neurons work with a reflex arc. So the pattern of neurons through a reflex arc. So first the senses take them in, and then they go to an interneuron, and then they go to a motor neuron. So in a face-to-face class, what I do is I bring somebody up and I find their patellar reflex, their knee reflex. And so what I do is I have them close their eyes, and then I tap their leg, and I say, I want you to scream out when you feel that I tap your leg. And I have the class watch. Does their leg kick first, or they say, I feel it first? So what do you think would happen? Okay, well actually the leg kicks before they can say I feel it, but it's very hard to see because it's all happening so fast. But basically the spinal cord is taking care of the patellar reflex, the knee kick reflex, and then simultaneously when the information comes in from the knee, so let's say here's their knee right here, okay, well here, let me just draw this for you. Okay. So here's the knee, right? And here's the person. So when I tap their knee right here, a sensory neuron takes it into the spinal cord, and then it connects to an interneuron. Then the interneuron sends information back out to the motor neuron. So this would be the sensory, this would be the interneuron, and then this would be the motor neuron. So simultaneously, when the interneuron sends a message back out to the motor, it also sends a message up to the spinal cord, to the brain, and the person can say, I feel it. But this takes a lot more interaction than this loop right here. So some of you advised me to insert videos, so I'm going to see if we can, how you like this video.
Sometimes we must react quickly to get out of danger. This is the job of the reflex arc. The hot metal activates pain receptors, and a nerve message travels up a sensory nerve and into the spinal cord. The nerve impulse is quickly routed through an intermediate neuron and into a motor neuron, which runs straight back to the arm muscle. The connections between nerves are called synapses. Chemicals flow across a tiny gap and trigger a signal in the next nerve cell. During a reflex arc, a signal may be sent to your brain. This gives the sensation of pain. But long before you feel the pain, the reflex arc activates the biceps muscle and pulls your hand from danger.